Coronation Street's dark death plot has taken a turn as new evidence has sprung up, and it's not looking good for Tim Metcalfe's cousin Richie. The new character was recently arrested and accused of murdering his wife, with Tim seeing her dead body on the floor. At the start of today's episode, August 20th, Sally told Tim that social services were happy for them to continue fostering Richie's daughter Lucy, while Tim received a visiting request to go see his cousin in prison. In the visiting room, Richie told Tim that his wife Rachel had attacked him, and not for the first time. "She's been abusing me," he said, before asking Tim to tell other people that she was like that. "I never even met her," Tim explained, but Richie insisted that Tim do what he asked. "I need to convince them I acted in self-defense," he said. "I need to get out of here to look after my daughter. I need you to do this." Tim responded by saying that he couldn't lie, even if it was to protect Richie. Richie raised his voice and looked like he was going to go for Tim, but prison guard Ross defused the situation. Back at home, Tim told Sally that he wasn't sure whether Richie's accusations of abuse were true or not, but said he couldn't lie either way as he didn't know Rachel. The duo were interrupted by Lucy, who demanded to know why Tim didn't tell her about the prison visit. Tim tried to say it had all gone fine, when Lucy got emotional. It wasn't his fault. He acted in self-defense. "I already told you she went for him with a knife, and she would have killed him," she said through tears. Things got even more confusing when Ross approached Tim in the pub, saying that it wasn't the first time that Richie had kicked off. Did Richie really kill Rachel, and was she really abusive towards him? The atmosphere on Coronation Street is set to become darker than ever as new evidence threatens to turn suspicion firmly toward Richie in a disturbing death plot. For weeks, questions have surrounded the mysterious circumstances of the death, with residents struggling to understand what really happened. While several people have had reasons to keep quiet, the latest discovery could finally give investigators a reason to focus their attention on Richie. The shocking development begins when a previously overlooked detail suddenly comes to light. At first, it appears to be nothing more than an innocent piece of information. But when the evidence is examined more closely, it begins to paint a very different picture of Richie's movements around the time of the death. A clue that changes everything. Richie has already attracted attention because of his connection to several people caught up in the fallout. However, until now, there has been no clear evidence directly linking him to the darkest part of the mystery. That could all be about to change. A crucial discovery raises questions about where Richie was, who he was speaking to and, most importantly, what he knew before the death occurred. The discovery leaves those closest to the investigation stunned. One person becomes convinced that Richie has been hiding something, while another warns them not to jump to conclusions. After all, circumstantial evidence can be misleading, and accusing the wrong person could have devastating consequences. But the more questions that are asked, the harder it becomes for Richie to explain away the inconsistencies. Richie struggles under pressure. As rumors begin spreading across the cobbles, Richie finds himself under increasing pressure. He insists that he has nothing to do with the death and claims that the evidence is being misunderstood. But his defensive reaction only makes some residents more suspicious. When confronted about his whereabouts, Richie gives an explanation that initially seems convincing. Then another detail emerges. Suddenly, his story doesn't appear to fit. The discovery creates a dangerous situation because someone may have deliberately tried to hide the truth. If Richie is innocent, it could mean somebody else is attempting to frame him. But if he is guilty, the latest evidence could be the first real crack in his carefully constructed story. And there is one person who appears determined to find out which version is true. A secret conversation raises suspicion. The investigation takes another dramatic turn when a secret conversation is overheard. Although the exchange doesn't provide a complete confession, it contains enough information to raise eyebrows. Certain words and references appear to connect Richie to events surrounding the death. The person listening is left shocked. Rather than immediately confronting Richie, they decide to investigate further. They know that one wrong move could alert him and give him time to destroy whatever evidence might remain. This creates a tense game of cat and mouse. Richie, meanwhile, appears increasingly nervous. He begins asking questions about what other people know, suggesting that he may be worried about something coming to light. That behavior could prove to be his biggest mistake. The evidence gets stronger. As the pieces begin coming together, investigators uncover another clue that appears to contradict Richie's version of events. It is not necessarily proof of murder, but it places Richie much closer to the circumstances surrounding the death than anyone previously realized. The discovery leaves everyone asking the same question. What was Richie really doing that night? For the first time, the possibility that Richie may know far more than he has admitted becomes impossible to ignore. However, Coronation Street is unlikely to make the mystery that simple. There could be another explanation. Richie might have been protecting someone else. He could have witnessed something terrifying and chosen to remain silent. Or, perhaps most disturbingly, he could have played a much bigger role in the events than anyone imagined. Someone else knows the truth. The latest storyline also introduces the possibility that Richie isn't the only person hiding a secret. Someone close to the situation appears to know exactly what happened, but they have their own reasons for staying silent. Their fear could be connected to Richie. If that is the case, then the new evidence could trigger a chain reaction that finally forces the truth into the open. But revealing the truth could come at a terrible price. As tensions rise, relationships begin to fracture. People who once trusted each other start questioning everything, while those with secrets become increasingly desperate to protect themselves. Richie's growing isolation could make him more dangerous. A confrontation looms. Eventually, the pressure becomes too much and Richie is confronted about the evidence. He is given the opportunity to explain the inconsistencies. Instead of calmly answering the questions, however, Richie becomes furious. His reaction immediately raises suspicion. The confrontation threatens to expose more than anyone expected, particularly when Richie appears to let slip a detail that he should not have known. That moment could be the turning point. If Richie truly has inside knowledge of the death, how did he get it? And why has he kept it hidden? The questions leave the people around him deeply unsettled. The dark truth could finally emerge. With the evidence mounting, Richie faces the possibility that his secrets will finally catch up with him. But the biggest twist may still be waiting. The evidence could reveal that the death was not an isolated incident at all. Instead, it may be connected to a much larger secret that has been quietly developing behind the scenes. Someone may have been manipulating events from the beginning, allowing suspicion to fall on different people while keeping their own involvement hidden. If Richie is part of that secret, the consequences could be enormous. If he isn't, then someone may have deliberately placed him in the firing line. Either way, the discovery changes everything. What happens next? The coming episodes promise to put Richie under intense scrutiny as questions about the death become impossible to ignore. Friends and neighbors will be forced to decide whether they believe his denials, while those investigating the case continue searching for the missing pieces. One thing is becoming increasingly clear: the mystery surrounding the death is far from over. Richie may have believed he could keep the truth hidden, but the new evidence has opened a dangerous door. And once that door is opened, it may be impossible to close again. As Coronation Street prepares for another explosive twist, viewers will be left wondering whether Richie is truly responsible for the dark death plot, or whether he is being used as a convenient scapegoat. The truth could be close